Good morning. Welcome to the lecture series on control systems engineering. In this session, let us discuss about block diagrams. Basically, in this session, we will define terminology associated with block diagrams, describe block diagram reduction rules, and perform simple block diagram reductions to find overall transfer function of a given system. Basically, what is a block diagram? See, we represent a system in this fashion. Okay, each one is called a block. This we call it as a block diagram. But what is the need for these things? See, if you have a very complex system, you have seen while deriving transfer function for physical systems, as the physical system becomes more and more complex, correct? Physical system becomes more and more complex. The number of equations will increase. Number of equations are going to increase. You have seen this, you have observed. So now our idea is to get a relationship between the overall output, say in the Laplace form, overall output to overall input. We want to get a relationship in the form of a equation like this. So this becomes useful for future studies. As I said, as a physical system becomes, number of equations increase, then manipulation of these equations to get this output by input relationship becomes quite tedious. So in such a situation, there is another technique, what we call it as a block diagram technique. We can represent the relationship between the input and output for each component, and based on that relationship we can connect all the components which are there in the system, and we can get a block diagram. And using simple block diagram reduction rules, we can reduce and get the overall transfer function. That is the advantage of block diagrams. Otherwise, we could have done away with this. If you are interested in, just manipulating all these things, manipulating a number of equations and getting the overall output to input ratio. So we define block diagram is a pictorial representation of the functions performed by each component, means the equations, the relationship between output to input, and the flow of signal between components of the system. Okay, right. So typically we represent a block diagram like this, right? This is called summing point. Many times we represent like this. This is basically a comparator. This we call it as a summing point. Summing point. And R of S is reference signal. C of S is controlled variable. This is the feedback signal, you know that. If there is a feedback block, transfer function is there, then we mark like this and we write that equation. Normally we call it as, say, H of S, feedback transfer function. If it is not there, we simply draw this line, then it is called unity feedback system. Okay, the feedback can be negative or it can be positive. This signal is the feedback signal, P of S. So R of S minus B of S becomes error signal, E of S. This is basically controller transfer function. You will have controller transfer function. Okay, I have just represented K, it is one type, represents one type of controller. Then whatever that signal comes, I think I'll follow the notation M of S, manipulating signal. Correct? Capital, right? Then this is what you can call it as the Planck transfer function. So we represent like this. Okay? So please know the notation, same notations I'll be using throughout. It is R of S, E of S, M of S, C of S, B of S, and H of S. So I have not done the work of writing down all these things, creating on my own, because it takes a lot of effort and time. So probably I borrowed from here and there. That's where exactly these difficulties are there. But nevertheless, I don't think you face any difficulty in understanding what exactly I'm trying to convey you. So, as I mentioned already, there is an input variable, that is, say, R of S, and you have that equation. I call it as transfer function and C of S. So if this is something like, let me call it as simply represented by G of S, then what is C of S is equal to? C of S is equal to G of S multiplied by R of S. Okay, G of S multiplied by R of S. This is the thing. Okay, output variable is transfer function into input variable. Already I mentioned this is what you call it as the summing point. Many times I represent like this. Here it is plus marked here, minus E is R minus P. So this is transfer function. Somewhere the feedback I'm taking out from here, tapping out here. This tapping out point, I call it as takeoff point. Okay, takeoff point. This is summing point, as I mentioned already. So also I mentioned this transfer function is the G of S what I wrote. It's in the form of an equation. You have some equation in the numerator and denominator. Now look at this. This is a typical block diagram representing a system. As I mentioned, this is the reference signal R of S. This is control variable C of S. G of S, I call it as forward transfer function. H of S, I call it as feedback transfer function. B of S, I call it as feedback signal. E of S, I call it as error signal, which I already have told you this. You are having G of S in the forward path, H of S in the feedback path. It is appearing in this form. If a block diagram appears in this form, I call that form as canonical form. Please remember, canonical form. Representing a system in this fashion, we call it as canonical form. So from this, you can very clearly see that C of S by E of S is equal to G of S. C of S by E of S equal to G of S. This I call it as forward transfer function. B of S by C of S. Output of this block is B of S. Input to this block is C of S. B of S by C of S is equal to H of S. I call this as feedback transfer function. So B of S by E of S, if I multiply these two, C of S will cancel. It will become B of S by E of S. If I consider this as the path, this much as the path, output is B of S, input is E of S, then G of S, H of S will be this. This I call it as open loop transfer function. My aim is to find overall output is C of S, overall input is R of S. I want to find basically C of S by R of S relationship I have to find out. Okay, let us do it right. Now you see here C of S is equal to G of S and E of S I wrote. You know E of S is nothing but R of S minus B of S. Then I'll substitute into this. Then C of S is equal to G of S into R of S minus B of S. Again, you know B of S is nothing but C of S into H of S. I substitute into this. So C of S is equal to G of S, R of S. Correct now? Into H of S and C of S you get. Right? Now open up now. C of S, G of S, R of S, G of S into H of S into C of S you will get. Bring this term this side, take out C of S common, then on the right hand side you have this. Now C of S by R of S ratio you take, you will get this. So C of S by R of S is equal to G of S divided by 1 plus G of S H of S. By chance, it is a positive feedback system, means instead of minus, you are going to put plus over here. So when I transfer to the right hand side, this will become minus. So you will get minus that time, if it is a positive feedback. So know this relationship, and it is a very, very important relationship in block diagram reduction and future also, right? Okay, fine. And it is like, it is a traditional like way of representing a control system. Whenever a control systems engineer teacher start teaching and represent a control system, he always represents in this fashion. And in future we say, what is open loop transfer function? G of S H of S. What is closed loop transfer function? C of S by R of S. But know that, please don't forget that G of S is nothing but an equation. H of S is nothing but an equation. So when we model the physical system, we get this equation. Instead of writing that equation, I'm representing that equation by simply G of S and H of S. Okay? Right. Okay. Now let us look at how to, if you get a complex block diagram, you had a simple block diagram, you could reduce this. Now if you get a complex block diagram, how to reduce? For that we need to follow certain rules. Let us look at the rules. Now you see here two blocks are in series, G1 and G2. Input is X1, output is X3. Then X1 to X3 we can simply write G1, G2. You can multiply. Whenever blocks are in series, you just multiply them and get a single block. Right? Now, if blocks are in parallel like this, both are forward paths only, you just add them, G1 plus G2. X1 is the input, X2 is the output, and these two parallel blocks you add. Now this is the summing point, this is block, G. By chance, this I call it as ahead of the block, and this I call it as behind of the block. Suppose I move the summing point, I need to move, let us say, ahead of the block to behind of the block. Then how do we do this? Very simple. Let us understand X1 minus X2 is the signal that is coming out here. This I multiply with G3, G, so that X3 is equal to X1G and minus X2G. Whatever changes if I make, still I should get X3 is equal to X1G minus X2G. Okay. Suppose I move the summing point right beyond this G. So I moved it now. You can see here now, X1 multiplied by G, I'll get X1G here. Now X2G I get here. x3 is equal to now x1g minus x2g. So what is the change I have made? When I moved the summing point ahead to behind, here I have introduced that block G. That is the thing. Okay, because I should get the same thing. X3 value should remain same. So remember to add this block like this. Suppose behind to ahead I want to move. Upstream side I want to move. So once again you calculate what is x3. x1g minus x2 is equal to x3. Suppose when I move ahead of these things, then what is going to happen? I should get x2. So 1 by g, if I do it, x2 by g, x1, then x1 multiplied by g, you get x2 by g cancels, then you are going to get x2. So I have to cancel this. I am dividing by 1 by g. I am introducing 1 by g block whenever I am moving this ahead. So this is the takeoff point. You see here, I can move the takeoff point from behind to say ahead. So you can very clearly see that x1g is equal to x2. When I move this also, I should get that. So that's why, see here, x1g is equal to x2. I have to achieve that required thing. Suppose it's here, it is not carrying out any contribution from g. When I shift this, again I should nullify that. That's what exactly we have to do. So divide 1 by g. So these are the, and already we have derived g divided by 1 plus 1 minus g h. If it is plus, minus is there, it is 1 plus gs. So for negative feedback, this is the one. And positive feedback, you get this. So these are simple fundamentals. Internalize, then it becomes very simple. Let us look at some examples. So we have to reduce this block diagram. So our idea is to get y of s by r of s. Just study the block diagram. What is that we can do? Every time if I can bring a particular part of the block diagram in canonical form, it becomes very simple for me to reduce it. So idea here is, let us look at, take this takeoff point, let us shift here. So once I shift this one, you see here, one thing I have to do is, when I shifted this is not carrying any G4 effect. It will start carrying G4 effect when I shift this. So I need to divide H2 by G4. Okay, that part. Correct? Just imagine I have connected like this from here to here. Then I should make H2 by G4. Once this is not there, then this part will become canonical form. So these two are in series, then I can multiply G3, G4. Then it is positive 1 minus G3, G4, H1 I can write. This will become a single block. Then that block I can multiply, again reduce, and the problem gets solved. Okay, let us look at these steps now. So as I mentioned, I have shifted, I divided by G4. Now I'll multiply these two and this will become a single block for me. Okay, I have done that. So now these two are in series, I can multiply, and this whole part is in canonical form now. Now I'll simplify that. Correct now? So G2, G3, G4, 1 minus, you can write like this here, G2, G3, G4 divided by 1 minus G3, G4, H1. This is the forward block. Whole thing divided by 1 it is negative feedback, so plus forward block is G2, G3, G4 divided by 1 minus G3, G4, H1 multiplied by H2 by G4. So this G4 will cancel. Then you will get, see this denominator like, so then you will get G2, G3, G4 divided by 1 minus G3, G4, H1 plus G2, G3, H2. Correct? So that's how it gets simplified. So I have written like this. Again, these two you multiply. Again, apply canonical form rule. You will get this answer. Okay? So very, very simple. So let us take another simple example. You study this problem. This is already in canonical form. Simplify this. This is in canonical form. Simplify this. Multiply these two blocks. Then it is in canonical form. Simplify this. You will get this. This you will get. Then it is in this form multiplied. Then next is simplify. You will get this one. Hope it's a very, very simple example. Now let us study this example. This is in canonical form. Let us simplify this. I got it. Now this forward. The best way is either I should shift this one from here to here, or I can shift this one to here. Let me shift this one. I have done that. So I should multiply it by G2 multiplied. These two are forward. Add them up. This is canonical form. Simplify this. Yes, you got it. Now all the three blocks are in series. Multiply and its unity feedback. You can take HFS is equal to 1 and simplify it. Okay, so we got it. So now how to do this problem, work out this problem. There are various ways. We can shift this one from here to here, or this itself I can shift here to here. Okay. So what is that I can do? Let me shift this one to here, so that I can divide by G3. So this is what I have got. Right? Now this is in canonical form. G2, G3 divided by 1 plus G2, G3, H2 I can make it. Done. So this is common. I'll connect here and split into two separate parts. Separate it into two separate parts. Simplify these. Again, you simplify this. Then both are forward path. Add them. Okay. Once again, you multiply and simplify and add them. You got it. Right, sir? Right. Next. Again, this example is again very simple example. Either I can shift this one here, or I can shift this one to this place. Done. Then this is in canonical form. I'll complete this. Then that will be in canonical form. I'll complete. Then I'll multiply with G1 and this. These are very simple examples. Okay. So in the next session, probably we'll consider a little more complex examples, but this is the way we can do block diagram reduction. But nowadays, my understanding is that even without block diagram, we can manage because we have symbolic diagrams. But however, Simulink diagrams becomes quite complex. But if you use block diagram, reducing it to certain level, then probably we can apply Simulink. So, right, without block diagram reduction possible to manage? My answer is yes. Without block diagram, we can manage it off many times. Okay, so we'll study some complex problems in the next session. Okay, now thank you.